Okay. I'm here with legendary icon of television, John Wesley Shipp, my TV dad, actually. That's so. Yeah. No, I grew up watching Dawson's Creek, and now, of course, watching The Flash again. So I got to ask you. This is the most important question you're going to be asked today. Who is the better son, Barry or Dawson?
Oh, they're just so different. You know, Dawson, of course, was very cerebral. And Mitch wasn't really, was he? But he was a really good dad in letting Dawson be Dawson, and in realizing that his son had sort of these unique kind of quirky abilities, and doing his best to understand him and encourage him. In a different template, not unlike what Henry did with Grant, because Grant Barry has unusual abilities, times 100. And, Henry, I felt that my job going on to the new Flash, both as an actor who had played the part and as a supportive father, was just to mirror back to Grant all of the qualities that I saw in him from the very beginning, which I knew, even if he didn't, I knew were going to make him an extraordinary character in that role. His combination of almost unerring sense of truth, his ability to break your heart 1 minute and then make you laugh the next, and then sing. Yeah. It's like, what can this kid not do? So that was, I'll always treasure those Henry Barry scenes. In fact, the relationship was so warm and so supportive and felt so intimate, that it was hard to reset the template when I became Jay Garrick, because suddenly Jay's like, yeah, I look like your dad. Sorry about that, but here's the deal: big boy rules.
Yeah, he's almost cold to him.
Yeah. Now we broke through some of that into the Speed Force when I took Wally's place, and then in Enter Flash Time, which was on episode before last, where the bomb is detonating and we're all moving. I thought that was the first time I felt fully integrated into the team and operating as a partner, and that Grant and I had a bit of the old connection. But it was hard. It was hard to reset that, because I initially had missed those moments. Everybody at the beginning said, no, you should play Jay Garrick, you should play Jerica. I'm like, no, I understand why you're saying that. You're going to get the passing of the torch, but it's not going to be as on the nose. It's going to be in terms of a father-son blessing, right. Which I thought resonated in a very, very unique and particular way.
Yeah, and now that you say that, it's going back to Flash Time, the way it ends, it kind of leaves, like when it first started happening and you started to say, well, I think I'm going to go. And I was just like, oh, no, is he leaving the show? Like, oh, no, what's going on? And then you're like, no, I'm going to train another speedster. So, and then and her. So I have my theory, right, about who it is, because we may or may not have seen that person in that episode. So I know you can't say anything, right. Because that's.
I'm not sure I'd be right if I did, because they play these things very close to their vest.
So you haven't been told yet who it is?
I have not been told. I have asked, because Sterling Gates, who I think, by the way, is such an enormous addition to the writing staff, Sterling Gates from DC Comics. One reason we saw Jay Garrick operating as a scientist in the last episode is because Sterling knows the legacy, and I hope we get in next season that we get into more of the legacy, and I hope we do follow through with Jay performing the role that he performs in the comics. Right. As a mentor, as a trainer. I love the scenes when the speedsters would come over to Joan and Jay's and their French bulldog for Sunday dinner. I don't think we'll ever go to that extent. But I love the legacy of the Flash, and I hope we get into once again telling those stories next season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm glad to hear that you're saying that you're looking forward to next season, because I got a little worried. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I always tell people, because people, of course, have said that, and I asked, and they said, oh, no, everybody loves Jay, of course they're, and they said to me, well, when Jay Garrick met Barry Allen the first time, he was retired. Right. He came out of retirement to battle the Thinker. He came out of retirement a number of times as needed. Right. And that's kind of the role I enjoy playing on this show. It's Grant's show. Man, he owns it. It's fantastic. I love the job he's doing. And anytime I can come in and contribute in a meaningful way, I'm thrilled to do it.
One last question. Are you a little jealous of Grant and his costume compared to your costume on the original show? Because it looks a lot thinner and lighter.
I have to tell you, I had costume envy first season. Now I'm the benefit of it because, that first costume was great. Of course, they were both designed by Oscar winners. Right. I mean, it served its purpose. It looked good for 1990, the heightened musculature, but it was a bear to work in. It wasn't. They couldn't clean it for one thing, so they would hang $100,000 to build 4 suits, and it was always a challenge because I was sweating so much that the foam was crumbling. So they'd hang them in my trailer and spray them with Lysol, so they'd still be wet and sticky when I put it on at 5 a.m. the next morning. We all have our little superhero suit horror stories, which nobody wants to hear us whine about because it's an incredible privilege to be in this universe playing through. But people come up to me now when I'm in my Jay Garrick suit, which has an undersuit and an outer shell, and they can wash the undersuit, which makes it a much more pleasant experience for everybody involved. They say, "Do you need water? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Man, this is Christmas, compared to 1990." So there have been improvements.
That's awesome. Well, John, thank you. I really appreciate it, and the best of luck. And I can't wait to see how Jay's story ends this year and into next year. It'll be awesome.
So much.
It's a great pleasure to meet you.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks.
Thanks.